In a question and answer session with priests yesterday evening, Benedict XVI was asked if he could shed light on the depth and the true meaning of ecclesiastical celibacy. The Pope answered, "A great problem for Christianity in the world today is that no one thinks of a future with God. This world seems sufficient. We want only this world, to live in this world, so we close the door to the true greatness of our existence. The meaning of celibacy is an anticipation of the future, which opens these doors, making the world greater, showing the reality of the future that seems to us already present. It may surprise you, in a sense, this criticism against permanent celibacy at a time when it increasingly becomes fashionable not to marry.
Nel quale sempre più diventa moda non sposarsi.
Faith and religion contributor Father Edward Beck joins us now. And I have to say, I love this story. I love this story. Go Father Doug. And I'm wondering, for you, Father Beck, does it bother you that Father Doug can get married and you cannot? First, I should find out, do you want to get married? Do you have any desire to get married?
Well, you know, some of us who are religious priests take vows. It wouldn't be optional for us anyway, even if it changed. But your parish priest, it would be. And I think what's interesting...
But that wasn't my question. My question was, do you want to get married?
So there's a growing shortage of Catholic priests all around the country, and in Ireland and America as well. More priests are dying every year than are being ordained. Now, as the Pope said last week, without priests, there will be no church. They are vital to its mission.
On my bended knees,
Does it lead to a lot of frustration? It just seems so unnatural to me for so many people.
Okay, but is it difficult? How do you deal with feelings when you get them?
Well, let me say this. I could not do what I do in the full capacity that I do it and be married with children. It would not work. Something would suffer.
Singing right now is a needed time. Right now.
In polls taken, many Catholics have stated that they believe it is appropriate for a priest to get married. Do you believe that the Catholic priest's vows for celibacy have pushed potential priests away from the Catholic Church, possibly to become a priest in other denomination churches, which allow priests to be married?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and there is, you know, I mean, for the first 1,000 years, priests were married in the Catholic Church, and you know, it's only the last 1,000 years that the celibacy rule has been more enforced, and there's plenty of room for, you know, married clergy in the Catholic Church today, and there's so many people that, you know, for their primary vocation is marriage. Yeah, we have permanent deacons that are married right now, and you know, many of them would probably make, you know, be able to be good to be ordained to celebrate the sacraments, and so, you know, people say, well, yeah, a married person doesn't have as much time as a single person, as a celibate priest. True enough, they have their responsibilities for the family, but if you have, you know, even someone celebrating masses on Sunday to help alleviate all the sacramental shortage of masses, you know, they don't have to be working, you know, 40 hours a week as a full-time Catholic priest. There's a lot of more creative ways that the Church can approach the you know, pastoral ministry. There are so many, you know, the Church welcomes Episcopalian and Lutheran ministers who are already married into the Catholic Church.
Yes, they do.
And yet you know, Catholic priests who leave to be married aren't allowed to practice. And so it's, you know, for people looking on the outside, it looks like, well, you know, why? This doesn't make sense. And you know, I mean, the Church has all its, you know, regulations and rules and stuff like that for, you know, that makes sense that way. But it really doesn't make sense in a pastoral sense for people from the outside looking in and saying, you know, why are these Catholic priests leaving, getting married, becoming Lutheran ministers or Episcopalian ministers, and meanwhile these married Episcopalian and Lutheran ministers are coming in and ministering in the Catholic Church. You know, it doesn't, you know, seem to make sense to people. So, yeah, the Church is, I think we really need to be.
Do you feel that the strong stance in favor of tradition that the Church maintains has an influence on the decline in the priesthood, specifically in reference to the facts that women cannot be ordained in the Catholic Church, and ordained priests are not allowed to marry?
But I think, again, the Church is missing out on, you know, the whole option of allowing women to be ordained. And, you know, traditionally says, well, you know, Jesus, you know, just had the 12 apostles, and and Jesus, we're standing in the image of Jesus, as high priest. But, other people have argued that, Jesus' humanity is what's important, not his maleness, in terms of, being able to stand in the image of Jesus and represent Jesus to people. And so, the power of the Holy Spirit, I think, certainly, can call us to, have a broader vision of priesthood, of who can be ordained. Even more radically, I mean, we've tied all the, 7 sacraments to, ordained priesthood ministry type thing. But there are lay hospital chaplains that are ministering in hospitals, and they have full-time theology degrees and all the credentials, except, they happen to be, a lay married man or, a lay woman or so. And when it comes time to ministering the sacrament of the sick, they have to call the priest. The priest comes and visits, even though they've been ministering to this family for days on end already. The priest comes in, does the sacrament of the sick, and visits a little bit and leaves. But it just seems people that if we again expanded perhaps
the definition
of limiting the sacraments just to ordained priesthood here, that maybe we could be doing much more pastoral ministry out there, sacramental ministry, if we expanded, who could be administering some of the sacraments, and just ordain, hospital chaplains to do this specific sacrament in their hospital ministry type thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So there's, I think we're, maybe not as open to some creative ministry solutions that the Spirit is out there perhaps prompting us to, that we're tied, as you said, tied to the tradition so much in our church history. Things have moved very slowly. I'm reminded of a story about Napoleon in France, where he gathered, when he was conquering France, he gathered all the cardinals together, and he says to the cardinals of the church, he says, if you don't do what I tell you, I will destroy your church. And the cardinals reported to reply, not even we have been able to do that.